me your secrets, show me your nightmares. All cats are gray in the dark, dear, whether or not you dare.
Welcome to All Cats Are Gray in the Dark. I'm your host, April Simmons. This podcast contains true cases of graphic violent crimes and other stories of a dark nature. Please be advised that due to the subject matter and violent, sometimes sexual content and obscene language, this podcast is not for children or the faint of heart.
Hey friends, we want to tell you about Anchor FM. That's what we use. It's free. It's easy to use. You do it right from the phone or the computer. Basically, you can record, edit, create, add some little doodads on there to make it fancy. It has all the tools you need for your very own podcast.
And the best part is that they submit it to all the listening apps and stuff for you, so you don't even have to worry about that.
And the other part is, it's absolutely free.
Yes, free is always my favorite. So go check it out, anchor.fm. Get your own podcast started today.
Let's do this.
Leave the Lights On is a true crime podcast with a paranormal twist. Join creator Eliza and her co-host as they explore terrifying true stories and chilling crimes. Growing up, Eliza had an odd obsession with the darkest desires of humanity and an insatiable curiosity about the afterlife. Now, each week, Eliza brings you tales that will make you want to lock your doors, hide in your room, and of course, leave the lights on. Available on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
Couple of seconds. Welcome.
Hi.
I've got my niece, Nancy. Or did you want to come up with a fake name? I guess it's too late now.
I have no idea.
Yeah. We're going to talk about a subject that she picked this time, just, in case anybody's offended by it. It's her fault.
I don't know what you're talking about.
She chose for us to discuss witchcraft.
Yes.
Which I know more about than I should probably. Did you know that I actually used to call myself a witch?
I think I remember vaguely stuff like that when I was younger, but
Yeah.
I don't know, because I just know when I was younger I used to be into making candles, and I feel like that was around the time, I think. And
Sort of, yeah.
But I don't remember everything. I was young.
I think I just didn't talk about that with you at that time because I knew that if you said something to certain people.
I had a big mouth.
Yeah, you did. This kid, I babysat her when she was 2 and I have to tell this story,
Oh
I
my
do.
gosh.
I babysat her when she was 2 and 3, and I spanked her once, and she immediately told her grandmother on her dad's side that I beat her.
Hey, man, standing my ground.
Yeah. I think I only spanked you because you did not, I usually use timeout, and it usually worked too because you hated it. I would sit you on the love seat away from all your toys and put classical music on the TV. And you would scream and cry and kick until you passed out because of the classical music.
Man, I remember when I was younger. Yeah, I remember because my mom had she used to play classical music whenever I was going to sleep because I would beg for music I loved, and she'd turn to the classical music radio, and I would be so upset. But now I'm in orchestra and I play classical music as a hobby. So something.
Yeah.
Y'all did something right. But anyways,
Yeah.
witchcraft.
Witchcraft. But yeah, and also I just wanted to state up front that she's allowed to say cuss words, so before anybody complains if she drops an F-bomb or something, she's allowed to.
Yeah,
That's
guys.
just
My mommy said that I can do that.
Yeah, her mommy allows it as long as she doesn't do it in at school
derogatory
and stuff like that,
way.
or derogatory ways, that kind of thing. So she's allowed to say those words. Just Just letting y'all know that up front.
And I'm over 13, so I'm allowed to be here.
You're 14, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hard to keep track anymore. I'm old. I can't remember things.
It's okay.
And I still think of you as the like 2-year-old, or like when you were like, I don't know, you were like 8 or 9 or something when we went to Universal. I still picture you as that kid.
I'm pretty sure I was 10 because I'm pretty sure I was like, this is the best year ever.
Yeah, those pictures came up in my memories today of us at Universal. Man, that was like the best trip ever. We were like giddy running around everywhere
It
at
was very
Universal
fun.
doing everything. And then when we come back to the hotel exhausted, and she would be like, "We've got to go get in the pool now." And I'm like, "No, we ain't gotta
We
do
have
anything,
we
kid."
gotta keep the spirits up whole time.
Yeah. At least James would let you go to the pool. I was just like, I'm tired. I don't want to move.
I think you went like one time.
Anyway, I guess we need to. We're like 4 minutes in, and we've barely mentioned witchcraft.
Yeah, at least you've
Okay.
gotten the word out there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I actually had to look this up, even though I identified as a witch before. I had to look up the difference of the terms used to identify witches.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of hard to explain, so I'm going to just read this to y'all. Wicca is a tradition of witchcraft that was brought to the public by Gerald Gardner in the 1950s. There's a great deal of debate among the pagan community about whether or not Wicca is truly the same form of witchcraft that the ancients practiced. Regardless, many people use the terms Wicca and witchcraft interchangeably. Paganism is an umbrella term used to apply to many different earth-based faiths. Wicca falls under that heading, although not all pagans are Wiccan.
So like the square can be a rectangle, but the rectangle can't be a square. Except it can.
I don't know, something like that. In a nutshell, here's what's going on. All Wiccans are witches, but not all witches are Wiccans. All Wiccans are pagans, but not all pagans are Wiccans. Finally, some witches are pagan, but some are not. And some pagans practice witchcraft while others choose not to. So
just do what
that
you
probably
want.
I probably just confused people further by that whole thing. But
basically, you can do what you want. You can practice multiple or not multiple.
So just paganism is like the overall term for all those type of faiths. And Wicca and witchcraft, some people consider the same and some people don't. So there you go. That's the more simplified version of that. Early history. Early witches were people who practiced witchcraft using magic spells and calling upon spirits for help or to bring about change. Most witches were thought to be pagans doing the devil's work. Many, however, were just natural healers or so-called wise women whose choice of profession was misunderstood. It's unclear exactly when witches came on the historical scene, but one of the earliest records of a witch is in the Bible in the book of 1 Samuel, thought to be written between 931 BC and 721 BC. Yeah, those. That just confused me for a second there. Because the timing's backwards, but it's because it's BC. Yeah. Anyway, I was like, wait, those numbers went backwards. That's why. I had a brain fart. It tells the story of when King Saul sought the witch of Endor to summon the dead prophet Samuel's spirit to help him defeat the Philistine army. The witch roused Samuel, who then prophesied the death of Saul and his sons. The next day, according to the Bible, Saul's sons died in a battle, and Saul committed suicide. Other Old Testament verses condemn witches, such as the oft-cited Exodus 22:18, which says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." Additional biblical passages caution against divination, chanting, or using witches to contact the dead.
Goodness.
But I gotta say, even though I believe in some things in the Bible, I kind of view the Bible as like a very biased historical document.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's written by all men.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, and I just feel like a lot of them put their own.
I know, there's like a lot of this is how I think, so everyone else should think this way too, like my way or the highway type stuff, and it's very subjective opinions, and it's
So maybe if the Witch of Endor really did put this curse on them or whatever, which it doesn't really say that she did, but I guess it's kind of insinuated because she said that they were going to die and then they died.
Yeah.
But really that could just have been her trying to warn them. So I don't see this as a definitive witches are bad.
Yeah.
It feels like they're not doing a very good job. If they're trying to demonstrate, here's why witches are bad and you should, murder them all or whatever they're trying to convey. They're not doing a good job of it because to me it doesn't show me why I should be hating on witches.
Yeah, it's like this is a one situation that you might not have even given us the full story. So yeah, kill all witches. Thanks.
So that's I don't know. Like I said, I just think it's biased. I'm not trying to offend any Christians. I don't call myself Christian, but I do believe in a higher power. I have some issue with some things in the Bible. I really do. And I know that some people are going to find that offensive, but that's just how I feel. And you don't have to agree with me, and that's fine.
Yeah. No one has to agree with anybody.
And then the Malleus Maleficarum comes along, which try to say that because that's it's a difficult one.
Malleus Maleficarum.
Witch hysteria took hold in Europe during the mid-1400s when many accused witches confessed, often under torture. Of course, anybody's going to confess to get you to stop torturing them. I mean, really.
For real.
I'm like, yes, I murdered the Pope. Leave me alone. I don't even know. I just made that up.
She didn't murder the Pope.
Within a century, witch hunts were common, and most of the accused were executed by burning at the stake or hanging. Single women, widows, and other women on the margins of society were especially targeted.
I think
between the years of 1500 and 1660, up to 80,000 suspected witches were put to death in Europe.
Ugh.
Around 80% of them were women thought to be in cahoots with the devil and filled with lust.
Oh my God.
Germany had the highest witchcraft execution rate, while Ireland had the lowest. The publication of Malleus Maleficarum, written by two well-respected German Dominicans in 1486, likely spurred witch mania to go viral. The book, did the word viral even exist back then? But anyway, I'm like, wait. The book, usually translated as The Hammer of Witches, was essentially a guide on how to identify, hunt, and interrogate witches. Malleus Maleficarum, they're going to try to make me say this as many times as possible, right? Labeled witchcraft as heresy and quickly became the authority for Protestants and Catholics trying to flush out witches living among them. For more than 100 years, the book sold more copies of any other book in Europe except the Bible.
God, I think this whole, they were just using everything as their excuse, and then it's just the whole thing just seems like a huge misunderstanding and not accepting things that are...
It almost seems like they don't even really have any, or at least it seems like to me, in a lot of these cases, there's no definitive proof of these women doing anything other than
someone being like, hey, I said that I saw them do that. They did that.
Or just being, I guess, a more progressive woman, liking sex and weird stuff like that. That was considered a no-no. It's always been acceptable for men to like it, but for women to like it.
Yeah, there's even a term for women. You're an nymphomaniac if you like that stuff.
Yeah. Or a bad word. There's lots of bad words for that, but it's, even though I don't agree with that, but
I think it's just so much of just this whole power grasp. Like they put it all under this book, and then they just it's just not.
I just feel like a lot of things, like today, feminism gets a bad rap.
Yeah,
It's like anything that where women speak up or act differently, don't conform, don't want to have spit out babies and do exactly what society says you're supposed to do,
and
shut up and stay in the kitchen, then you get a bad rap for that stuff.
And of course, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have the type of lifestyle where you do get to be a stay-at-home mom and all that, but it's not for everybody. And for some people, just don't understand that people can make decisions for themselves, and that's just been around for forever. Everyone thinks that like you have to do this, and so it's just for some reason women have always been the target, and so I feel like even now, like with feminism, it started out as a great thing, and well, no, it didn't start out as a great thing, but it started out as something where, like, it was very.
It was originally supposed to be about equality, but then there's extremists in that, just as there is with Christianity, that people take it too far and they want more than equality, and that's not right.
Yeah, you can't just switch it from one side and then go to the opposite and make it worse. Like,
but I think things like this, it goes to show, it just makes me feel like it's just been men trying to keep us in our place. Not just the witchcraft thing, but just a lot of other things too.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the backlash from like the Me Too movement, how some men talk about the Me Too movement or whatever. It just feels like they're just trying to keep us down.
Yeah. Oh my God. And the whole like she wanted it, like look at what she was wearing, stuff like that. That is such like rape culture. Like women wearing like women were being completely covered up. Like they're still getting raped. They weren't wearing booty shorts and a
there's been rape all throughout history. It's always happened.
Even whenever it wasn't even okay to wear dresses that went above your knee, like it's still happening. It's just because you can't control yourself, which you definitely can, you just choose not to. And so it's all just all just been bad.
Did you hear about that case in Alabama that I have posted something about? This guy named Zach, I can't remember his last name, probably don't need to say it anyway, because I don't think there's a case yet, but he's been like harassing women online. Like he'll message them privately and try to hit on them, and then when they reject him, he threatens to kill them. And then in some cases it's like single moms, and he's threatened to kill their kids and stuff just because they're rejecting him.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
But they've started reporting it to the cops and everything, and there's a whole movement online to like basically make his life hell now. And he still hasn't stopped. He got arrested because of the stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
And people had screenshotted conversations with him where he threatened to kill them and stuff, and basically sent it into the cops, and they arrested him that day, but his parents went and bailed him out like 2 hours later.
God enabling.
And he's already been threatening more people since then. So he hasn't learned a lesson. He's still threatening to kill people.
See, shit like that is just, it's like, how do you raise a kid like that and then excuse that behavior?
I don't know.
A lot of stuff like that is just, don't teach your daughters how to like dress up and to avoid the man's eye, but like teach your fucking sons not to lust towards women like that. Like, Jesus.
Or feel like that women owe them something, because that's an attitude that's happening a lot. I've discussed that some in the episode I did about incels with Sahara.
Yeah, the whole nice guy thing. I've even had experiences with guys that think that they're entitled to be more than something with me just because they've been nice to me, and it's just like, man, I do not have to talk to you just because you're nice to me. I don't have to have a conversation with you that is not.
and you shouldn't have to. Fuck being polite.
Exactly.
Just be real. If somebody gives you a bad vibe, then don't have anything to do with them. You don't have to even be friends.
Yeah, and that
You know,
used to be something I struggled with. I used to think that I had to like be nice to everybody because they weren't mean to me. But like, no, if they did, just because they're being nice doesn't mean that they are a nice person.
yeah. Do you want to read the next section about the Salem witch trials?
Sure. As witch hysteria decreased in Europe, it grew in the New World, which was reeling from wars between the French and British, a smallpox epidemic, and the ongoing fear of attacks from neighboring Native American tribes. The tense atmosphere was ripe for finding scapegoats. Probably the best-known witch trials took place in Salem, Massachusetts, in 1692. The Salem witch trials began when 9-year-old Elizabeth Parris and 11-year-old Abigail Williams began suffering from fits, body contortions, and uncontrolled screaming. Today, it is believed that they were poisoned by a fungus that caused spasms and delusions. As more young women began to exhibit symptoms, mass hysteria ensued, and 3 women were accused of witchcraft: Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and Tituba?
Tituba?
I have no idea. And enslaved women owned by Paris's father. Tituba confessed to being a witch and began accusing others of using black magic. On June 10th, Bridget Bishop became the first accused witch to be put to death during the Salem witch trials when she was hanged at the Salem gallows. Ultimately, around 150 people were accused and 18 were put to death. Women weren't the only victims of the Salem witch trials. 6 men were also convicted and executed. Massachusetts wasn't the first of the 13 colonies to obsess about witches, though. In Windsor, Connecticut, in 1647, Alice Young was the first person in America executed for witchcraft. Before Connecticut's final witch trial took place in 1697, 46 people were accused of witchcraft in that state, and 11 were put to death for the crime. In Virginia, people were less frantic about witches. In fact, in Lower Norfolk County in 1655, a law was passed making it a crime to falsely accuse someone of witchcraft. Still, witchcraft was a concern. About 24 witch trials, mostly of women, took place in Virginia between 1626 and 1730. None of the accused were executed.
So,
I think that whole thing is just, it starts off as just, hysteria, and then it becomes such a big bandwagon thing. Like,
yeah.
everybody's a witch, kill them all.
And they didn't understand whatever was going on with these kids.
Yeah,
Like,
they didn't look into it too far.
Yeah.
They didn't know
didn't
what it
understand
was.
what had happened. Yeah.
So it was
And then
obviously something to do with evil.
Yeah. Well, there's still people today that are like, if you get sick, it's the devil, you know, like,
Yeah.
or like with coronavirus, there's some, I think there was a rabbi in another country that had stated publicly that he thought that homosexuals caused coronavirus, but now he has it. So, just saying.
Oh.
I'm sure he's got an excuse for that too, but he's probably got a whole different, separate excuse for why he has it.
Man, just, I don't, how?
I don't know. But it was Satan, right?
Oh, yeah. I think.
Are witches real? One of the well, I can already answer that for you. Yes, they are. I know some. One of the most famous witches in Virginia's history is Grace Sherwood, whose neighbors allege she killed their pigs and hexed their cotton. Okay. Other accusations followed, and Sherwood was brought to trial in 1706. The court decided to use a controversial water test to determine her guilt or innocence. Sherwood's arms and legs were bound, and she was thrown into a body of water. It was thought if she sank, she was innocent. If she floated, she was guilty. So if you're innocent, you drown?
Yeah.
Like,
what?
She didn't sink and was convicted of being a witch. She wasn't killed, but put in prison for 8 years. A satirical article supposedly written by Benjamin Franklin about a witch trial in New Jersey, was published in 1730 in the Pennsylvania Gazette. It brought to light the ridiculousness of some witchcraft accusations. It wasn't long before witch mania died down in the New World, and laws were passed to help protect people from being wrongly accused and convicted. So, at least they finally got the picture, like that you're,
Yeah.
you know, trying and convicting people of stuff that they're not even doing, basically.
Yeah. I mean,
I
that,
would love if we had some kind of percentage, but of course there's no way to know now. I would love if we had some kind of percentage of how many of all these people that were tried and convicted or executed were actually witches.
yeah.
I would love to see it, because somebody had to be.
Yeah. I mean, the amount that they tried to say were witches is probably way off, but there had to have been at least a few that they got right. But like, still, did they have to be killed? Was it necessary?
No, because like they were saying earlier, in most cases, witches usually are good.
Yeah.
They are the people that, somebody goes to for some type of healing potion, or,
Yeah. I mean,
stuff like that.
have some faith in humanity. Don't kill them just because they're trying something different.
Hmm.
Just everything's evil because it's not what I do every day.
Yeah. Now, the Book of Shadows. Modern day witches of the Western world still struggle to shake their historical stereotype. Most practice Wicca, an official religion in the US and Canada. Wiccans avoid evil and the appearance of evil at all costs. Their motto is to harm none, which I like to point out because, everybody's like, oh, every religion is so different, especially witchcraft and Christianity. But at the base of both Christianity and witchcraft are the golden rule.
Yeah.
Because the golden rule is doing to others as you'd have them do is doing to me, and Wiccans have harm none, which is basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
I mean,
and most religions have that same basic rule. So it's like, are we really that different?
a lot of religions are extremely similar, but no one takes the time to actually look into them, and they just immediately are like, oh no, this is nothing like this. Like, no, like this is. But a lot of them are similar and have that same base. They're just different because of the culture and different like stories, but a lot of them are very similar at the base.
Yeah. I just had a package delivery. My doorbell went off. I was like, I'm not expecting anybody. Please go away. Social distancing. I don't ever answer the door for packages anyway.
Yeah, just watch them.
Let them do their thing and watch them leave, and then go get my box.
Exactly.
Where was I
at? Many modern day witches.
Many modern day witches still perform witchcraft, but there's seldom anything sinister about it. Their spells and incantations are often derived from their Book of Shadows, a 20th century collection of wisdom in witchcraft, can be compared to the act of prayer in other religions. A modern day witchcraft potion is more likely to be an herbal remedy for the flu instead of a hex to harm somebody. Today's witchcraft spells are usually used to stop someone from doing evil or harming themselves. Ironically, while it's probable some historical witches use witchcraft for evil purposes, many have embraced it for healing or protection against the immorality they were accused of. That's a totally different word. But witches were, whether actual or accused, still face persecution and death. Several men and women suspected of using witchcraft have been beaten and killed in Papua New Guinea since 2010, including a young mother who was burned alive. Similar episodes of violence against people accused of being witches have occurred in Africa, South America, the Middle East, and in immigrant communities in Europe and the United States.
God, I mean, so many people like to say how progressive we are and how it's 2020. We don't think of things like this, but like we're still killing people because they're different. Like,
yeah. And I'd like to point out too, because it talks about spells and potions and things like that.
Mhm.
Like a lot of modern witches don't use that because basically spells and chants and potions and charms and any of that stuff is basically just considered like a focus item.
Yeah.
What they're really doing, and this is what I believe, is you're putting energy out there, whether it be
Yeah.
positive or negative, just like with karma.
Like, yeah.
So you're putting positive or negative out there in the universe, just like say with prayer.
Mhm.
Like if you pray for somebody, you're putting positive energy towards them into the universe, and it's the same thing when you're doing a spell or a chant or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it is. So if you do a bad spell, it's going to come back on you, just with karma. Like
Yeah.
so that's why most don't, because they realize that. You know, if they know better anyway.
Yeah.
Some of them don't. But there are still going to be bad witches out there, but it's usually people that don't even understand
Yeah.
what
Making
it's
a
about,
mistake.
and they just like the aesthetic, you know?
Oh
Like,
my
I'm going
God.
to be a badass witch and cast spells on people, you
That's a
know?
big problem now is people trying to be everyone's trying to become unique, but it's just everyone wants to be unique. No one likes I mean most people don't like just being, the norm, I guess. But like there are so many people now especially that are trying to be unique because everything nowadays is so cookie cutter, I feel like. And I see a lot of people that say they're a witch. Like I know a couple people or know of a couple people that claim to be that, but they seem like they don't actually have a whole lot of knowledge about stuff like it. And I'm just like, you need to slow your roll.
Yeah.
Because I mean, personally, I don't know a lot of stuff about it, but I just feel like you need to really know why you're doing it.
I did when I was calling myself a witch, I still don't completely agree or disagree with witchcraft. Like I'm kind of
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say indifferent, but I kind of in the middle on it.
Yeah.
Like I agree with certain aspects of witchcraft. But I've done some when I was actually calling myself a witch. I basically I did some like ritual things and like that, but I didn't really do any serious like spells or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I did rituals like we had a big ritual at a friend's house where everybody, like the friend was getting rid of like this old chair. So everybody went and wrote out their worst fears and um whatever negative that they wanted to get rid of in their life, they wrote it
Hmm.
on the chair, and then we burned it in a big bonfire
Goodness.
to try and get rid of negative stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like it was helpful. It was more like therapy because you're basically
Yeah. You're like,
just,
it's like manifesting,
yeah,
like trying to make. Yeah. I feel like a lot of witchcraft has to do with like manifestation and things like that. Like trying to turn something you want into reality. Like you have to work towards it, and it's all just like goals in different ways. Using those charms and things like that to try and help out and get towards that goal.
yeah. Oh, and I used to actually I still have some of the stuff to make it, but I have these little um necklace charms that are little tiny little glass bottles with a cork in the top.
Mhm.
And I would put like um essential oils and um different herbs that did different things, and I would put like crystals and stuff like an amethyst, and different crystals for protection and stuff, and I would make those for my friends
Yeah.
for their protection.
That's
And you didn't have to wear them. You could like hang them somewhere in your house, like by the front door, or or in your bedroom for at night to try to keep away bad dreams, that kind of thing. So I made those for friends back then too.
That's good. That's cute.
I guess we're going to take a break, or maybe do this in sections. I'll probably just section this, and this will be part 1 of the episode, and then we'll come back and finish recording. But I'm going to stop the recording for right now. Later, everybody. Come back for the second part of this episode.
Bye-bye.
Whisper to me your secrets, show me your nightmares. All cats are gray in the dark, dear, whether or not you dare. Welcome to All Cats Are Gray in the Dark. I'm your host, April Simmons. This podcast contains true cases of graphic violent crimes and other stories of a dark nature. Please be advised that due to the subject matter and violent, sometimes sexual content and obscene language, this podcast is not for children or the faint of heart.
Hey friends, we want to tell you about Anchor FM. That's what we use. It's free. It's easy to use. You do it right from the phone or the computer. Basically, you can record, edit, create, add some little doodads on there to make it fancy. It has all the tools you need for your very own podcast. And the best part is that they submit it to all the listening apps and stuff for you, so you don't even have to worry about that. And the other part is, it's absolutely free. Yes, free is always my favorite. So go check it out, anchor.fm. Get your own podcast started today. Let's do this.
Leave the Lights On is a true crime podcast with a paranormal twist. Join creator Eliza and her co-host as they explore terrifying true stories and chilling crimes. Growing up, Eliza had an odd obsession with the darkest desires of humanity and an insatiable curiosity about the afterlife. Now, each week, Eliza brings you tales that will make you want to lock your doors, hide in your room, and of course, leave the lights on. Available on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
And we're back. Welcome back to the second part of the episode on witchcraft with my niece Nancy. Say hello, Nancy.
Hello, Nancy.
That's a terrible joke. It's actually one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to is Bless This Mess, and it's like a Southern married couple.
Oh my
And
God.
it's Kara and Stu, I think is their names. And she's like, say hello, Stu. And he's like, hello, Stu. Every time. It's great.
Goodness. Love it.
They're really funny because they argue and stuff, and it's just a lot of bickering, and she'll be like, stay where? Like he'll say something inappropriate and she'll scream at him. It's great. Anyway, back to the subject again because I started rambling.
So, the witch's stereotype. A fearsome being of fairy tale and myth, the witch has carved out a home in nearly every culture across the world and time. Indeed, the witch represents the dark side of the female presence. She has power that cannot be controlled. History tells
Heck
us
yeah.
Really. History tells us that the witch's origins are far less sinister. In fact, those whom we consider to be witches have often been healers. Carol Fontaine, an internationally recognized American biblical scholar, argues in an interview that the idea of the witch has been around as long as humanity has tried to deal with disease and avert disaster.
Well, dang, we need more witches now.
I swear.
Where all the witches help us?
Jesus. In the earliest centuries of human civilization, witches were the women who served the goddesses and therefore were revered throughout their communities. In the Middle East, ancient civilizations not only worshipped powerful female deities, but it was often women who practiced the holiest of rituals. Trained in the sacred arts, these priestesses became known as wise women and may have been some of the earliest manifestations of what we now recognize as the witch. These wise women made house calls, delivered babies, dealt with infertility, and cured impotence. According
Very
to
important.
yeah,
That last one.
goodness. What's interesting about them is that they are so clearly understood to be positive figures in their society. No king could be without their counsel. No army could recover from a defeat without their ritual activity. No baby could be born without their presence. So how did the benevolent image of a wise woman transform into a malevolent figure of the witch we know today? Some scholars maintain that the answer may be linked to events long before the birth of Christ, when Indo-Europeans expanded westward, bringing them with a warrior culture that valued aggression and male gods of war, which dominated the once revered female deities. Others
Deities.
Others believe that when the Hebrews settled in Canaan,
Canaan.
1300 years before the Common Era, their male-centric and monotheistic
That means one God.
View of creation came along for the ride. Obeying laws of the Bible, Hebrews believed that witchcraft to be dangerous and prohibited it as a pagan practice. Christianity.
So, I'll read that next part. Basically, so in other words, the just male-dominated warrior culture
took over.
and all the wars in history and stuff kind of took over that positive female image, basically, is what they're trying to say.
To go back, you can't have one without the other. I mean, it seemed like it was a good balance, and then it was lopped over to one side, and then it just.
But I find this funny because, according to men, like, men have always stated, like, I don't want a woman to run the country because she'll just be on her period and press the red button and blow everybody up,
God.
Stuff like that. And they're the ones that have always historically been the ones to start wars and everything.
I mean,
but yet they're like, we don't want you to rule.
Yeah.
because you're going to do something stupid.
I've even have guy friends that if they say something like, God, are you on your period, just because I'm upset about something or being passionate about something, I used to just like rub it off my shoulder, like, just whatever, they're just joking. But now I'm just like, shut up. I'm just like, I don't want to hear it. I was like, wow, that's such a funny joke. Because that's just almost, it's just like making your points less valid or something, because just because I'm being passionate about something or I'm upset about something doesn't mean that there's something wrong with me. Like, I'm not meant to just sit there and sit pretty and just, go along with whatever. Like, I'm gonna have opinions and I'm gonna be like angry and passionate. Like, you can be all of those things and then still be pretty. Like, it's just, ugh.
Well, you better get used to that, because that stuff still will go on for the rest of your life. Some guy's gonna accuse you of being on your period because you're speaking your mind.
I know.
Or you're just automatically gonna be a bitch because you spoke up and stood your ground about something.
I feel
because
like
that's
I
what you're gonna be.
Yeah, because I used to be, when I was in like 6th grade, which, wow, so long ago, I was a lot, like, very, a pleaser, I guess you could say. Like, I didn't want to cause problems ever. And as I've grown up, I started to realize, one, I'm not going to like everybody, and not everybody is going to like me, and I have to be okay with that. Because I used to think that I could be a friend of everybody, and growing up, I'm realizing, wow, not only are they not liking me and I can't figure out how to change myself, but also I don't want to change and they're assholes. Like, I mean, it's just as part of growing up, and man, dealing with just the
I
teenage
think
boy.
for you, you were both blessed and cursed with having me and your mom in your life, and we've always been like, be yourself, do what you want to do,
Yeah.
be unique,
Yeah, and I had that weird time period where I wanted to be like everybody else, and then I was like, yeah, fuck that.
Bravo.
I know.
Anyway, the next section I'm just kind of skip through because it's yet again about the Malleus Maleficarum, but it's as it applies to like the stereotype image of whatever. But the reason why that they were believed to, but basically, according to the Malleus Maleficarum, it's women that did things like promiscuous sex, naked dancing, and gluttonous and according to them, they were gluttonous feasting on flesh of human infants. So,
yeah, that's oh my god.
like, that's ridiculous. If somebody's doing that, they're a psychopath, not a witch. Okay,
Exactly.
like,
Don't blame it on an entire like practice. Jesus.
but they believed they had festivals where all of that stuff's going on, and that the devil himself would come and they had an orgy. I'm like, okay, well, I want proof of that happening
Yeah,
because I've never known that.
show
Show
the devil having an orgy with these women.
pictures or it didn't happen.
Exactly.
Even
Drawings.
though pictures didn't exist. Yeah.
Yeah, give me
Some kind of proof.
drawing with the time, date, and like a little stamp to like get everyone's signature, make sure they had written consent.
Mm. But according to the Malleus Maleficarum, this is stuff that was all going on. So what it really boils down to, the underlying theme there is just that women that were outside society,
Exactly.
societal norms, were lumped into this category and assumed to be in cahoots with the devil.
Oh my god.
And this last sentence really kind of goes to our whole point here today. In order to save the church and its followers from the devil, then these women had to be tamed. That sentence right there just kind of the whole theme, whole episode. They had to be tamed.
How do you tame something that, gosh, tame an entire gender?
Well, here's how you tame a woman: you keep her pregnant and in the kitchen. I mean,
there's only a
that's
couple
what they
types
think.
of the personality of a woman: dishwasher, cleaner, cooker. You know, there's only a couple. Gosh.
Eater of infants. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, take care of infants. Whatever.
Yeah.
Same.
A mispronunciation.
Sure. And the monks wrote, "What else is a woman but a foe to friendship? They are evil, lecherous, vain, and lustful. All witchcraft comes from carnal lust, which is women insatiable."
Oh my god.
I know. Do you not want to just like stab the person that wrote that? Like, just, you're a freaking idiot. So basically, any woman that's vain or lustful
is a witch.
Is a witch, and therefore evil.
Exactly. Or anyone that is a witch is automatically lustful and vain. Just, okay, they go hand in hand. And
the manual's vivid descriptions would serve as a platform for zealous witch hunters to act on their prejudice for over 200 years. At the time, Malleus Maleficarum was second to the Bible in terms of popularity. I think we said that earlier.
yeah.
The religion was named after an Anglo-Saxon term for craft of the wise, circles back to ancient practices that use herbs and other natural elements to promote healing, harmony, love, and wisdom, all following the tenet of harm none. It remains to be seen who the world's powerful will choose as their next witch, but as history has shown, the fearful is often the female. So that was kind of my wrap up on that part of this episode. Like, basically, I kind of put that last part in there, even though it kind of says some of the same things. It's kind of redundant to stuff that we already said. I kind of felt like I needed to follow up that part about women being evil and lustful and all of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
like, the harm none kind of disproves that. Like, I don't.
I mean, even if there were, I mean, obviously there would be witches and things that weren't following the rules because there's people in Christianity that don't follow the rules. I mean,
oh yeah, most of them.
Yeah, really, if they were to follow the rules, there'd be a lot of craziness going on. But like obviously there were some that did harm people, but like to to completely generalize this entire practice and this type of religion, like, gosh, and then murdering every single one. You're a witch. We have to prosecute you. Like, oh my god, there's no thinking going into that. It's just impulse and anger.
Yeah.
God, calm down, sit down, smoke a blunt, God.
You want to read this next part? I included this because Easter is this weekend, and I thought this would make a good addition to this to discuss where.
Wait, is today Saturday? Oh no, it's not.
No, it's Friday. It's hard to
And
keep track anymore, isn't it?
sorry, there's a fishing tournament on Animal Crossing tomorrow.
You were like, I'm done here.
I know, I was about to say, I gotta go. Where does Easter come from? Easter most likely takes its name from the names of goddesses associated with spring, vernal equinox, and renewal. How do I say the word?
I would just say Eoster.
Easter
Eoster.
Easter
I don't know.
was the Saxon mother goddess, the source of all things and the bringer of new life. Around the same time, Teutonic tribes worshipped the dawn goddess Ostara,
Ostara.
who also represented fertility and rebirth. Other pagan cults and deities played a part in the formation of Easter too. Around 200 BCE, the mystery cult of the goddess Cybele was popular in Rome and its surrounding areas. Cybele, another goddess of renewal and spring, had a lover named Attis, who was born of a virgin and died and was reborn every spring. The legend of Attis's birth is also associated with other deities, including Dionysius, Tammuz, and Osiris, and scholars believe with the life and death of Jesus. As Christianity rose to prominence alongside those pagan beliefs, elements of the celebrations of Easter, Ostara, Attis, and other deities became inextricably intertwined with the Christian narrative of Jesus' death and resurrection. Easter doesn't fall on the same date every year. Thus, even this aspect of the holiday is connected with pagan celebrations of the cycles of nature. The vernal equinox marks the time when night and day are of equal length. It's also a celebration by pagan cultures to welcome the arrival of the long days of spring and summer. For Christians and Western traditions, Easter is celebrated on the first Sunday after the first full moon following the vernal equinox. This was a formula set in 325 CE by the Council of Nicaea, which established many points of doctrine for the early Christian church. Eastern Orthodox Christians celebrate Easter on a different timetable, though, as much as 3 weeks later than standard Easter. I actually think I watched this short little film. You know Zeitgeist or something like that?
Zeitgeist?
Yeah, that Zeitgeist. That first section or that second section where there's that guy like explaining how a lot of the Bible stories were kind of a calendar in a sort of way. That's a whole other thing, but this kind of just reminded me of that, kind of saying how a lot of it was just like kind of a.
But I've brought this up several times because there are, churches here in the South and probably other places too that have Easter egg hunts and stuff like that. And I'm fine with that. But if you bring up the fact that it's a pagan ritual, like they get really offended, and some will even argue with you that that's not true, that history is not true. And I'm like, but that's history.
Yeah, no,
that's like,
I think
it's not an argued point of history either. It's actual history.
Yeah, believe what you want, but if something is literally giving you hard proof evidence that something did not happen or something did happen, why would you ignore it instead of like maybe researching for yourself to prove that? Like to just sit there and like completely deny something without knowing, like why would you not want to know the truth? Why would you just want to sit there and be happy with lying to yourself?
But on the flip side of that, does school still teach that Columbus discovered America?
I think kind of, but they also say like my history teacher's a bit more like realistic, so he was like I think he put it in quotes or something like that. Like I think it was kind of like no, they were here first, but he discovered America. Like they kind of just
But they don't ever take it out of the history books, and it's like, this is ridiculous, guys. We know Columbus didn't discover America. There were already natives here.
Yeah, he discovered people. Like, he found some people hanging out. Like, you don't travel to a new town and see these people and you're like, man, I just discovered this new
I
place.
own this town now,
I,
motherfucker.
yeah, imagine someone walking into your house and being like, man, this is a nice place, and you being like, yeah, it is, isn't it? They're like, all right, so you can leave now. It's mine, and you're just like, huh? What? Like, that's kind of just, it's a little fucked up.
Yeah, it is. They really need to take Columbus out of the books.
Yeah.
Or at least just barely drop mention of him in the drop in a bucket of the history
I mean,
of
good for
America.
him. He found people and he like found a like path to get there, I guess. But like, don't
And
credit him for,
possibly had them murdered, and yeah,
I mean,
he was an asshole.
credit him for that, but like, credit him for the murdering of them, but like, why would you credit him for like finding this place when there was very obviously and written down people there? Ugh.
Okay. What are the pagan Easter symbols? Today's Easter is a mix of symbols from Christianity and traditions far older. Alongside the overtly religious celebration of Jesus' death and resurrection, people of all ages beliefs enjoy colored eggs, egg hunts, candy rabbits, and chickens. Also, the Easter baskets filled with gifts, candy, and springtime colors are an important part of today's celebration. All of these Easter favorites clearly echo pagan beliefs. Many of these beliefs were very much in tune with nature, animal births, seasons, and cycles of the moon and sun. The rabbit, the symbol of fertility and agility, was sacred to Ostara. Eggs, chicks, green grass, and sweets speak to the ancient celebration of new life and rebirth during warm spring days. Many ancient pagan cultures exchanged eggs as a celebration of the changing season into spring and the blessing of fertility. Although Easter has become known as a Christian holiday around the world, celebrating the sacred death and rebirth of Jesus, the true pagan Easter and its symbol is a clear testament to the historical melting pot of cultures and traditions that make Easter what it is today.
In conclusion, let's just call it Bunny Day like Animal Crossing does.
I hate that bunny.
Dude, okay, you know what? I can tell you this after the podcast. We're not talking about Animal Crossing. But
I'm just tired of fishing and coming up with an egg. Okay?
Oh my God.
Like, seriously.
But yeah, I think overall there's a lot of discrediting and taking it for my own type of stuff within all of this. Like, there's not a lot of communication, like killing these witches because they may or may not have possibly been a witch. Probably not, but maybe, just maybe. Someone accused them, so you better be safe than sorry. Like, man,
Yeah.
not proud of
So,
history.
did you learn anything today, and how do you feel about witchcraft now?
Well, I mean, beforehand, I knew that I knew some about it, but I think now I at least understand that there was a lot more tragedy than I thought there was because, man, they've been through some shit.
Yeah. I think that's all women. Even though, yes, there are male witches, but it's just not as common. It's probably more common now than ever, but it's still not as common. I feel like it's just persecuting witches is just a part of every woman's history. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like every woman has a little witch power in them.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about it. Whether they use it or not is up to them. And it's fine if you don't. But I feel like it's something that we all have in there.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has the ability to make something happen. It's just, are you going to?
And it's up to you whether you make that a bad or a good thing.
Yeah.
That's another thing I should point out, because I know that there probably will be somebody that's offended that we did an episode about witchcraft. But
Listen, man,
I feel like it's an important thing to point out that
we're just
the
talking
majority
about
are, yeah, well, A, we're just telling you about it. But B, we also want that association with the devil to be, I know most witches want that association with the devil to be done. Like it's not reality. And if you're going around saying witches worship the devil,
That is
then you're
such
just
a
part
huge
of,
generalization.
yeah, that's terrible. But I guess also things like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the new one on Netflix, doesn't help with that image either.
Oh my god. I haven't even watched that actually.
What?
Yeah, I didn't start it with my mom, and I never just started it for myself. I don't know. I've been watching Gilmore Girls though, so don't attack me. I finally got to one of them.
Yeah. No, I mean, whatever you watch is up to you. But you still have to finish Steven Universe at some point.
Oh my god, I'll get there eventually. Man, Nora bugs me about it all the time. She's like, "Well, I can't tell you. It's a spoiler." Or she'll be like, "Can I spoil this for you?" And I'm like, "No." She's like,
Yeah. But I just want people to understand that the majority of witches do not worship the devil, and that we don't appreciate. We're actually offended when you say that. You know, like it's one of those things that witches get tired of hearing about it.
yeah, it's like, just educate yourself. God damn, like, it's not that hard to do a simple Google. We have phones for a reason. If you can't just,
But they don't. But regardless of how many times you say it, they think the devil's behind it. Regardless, either it's us keeping it a secret for our own protection, or the devil's just influencing us in some way, and it's ridiculous. That's not how it works.
yeah,
You know, like that's just not how it works. We're out there doing good,
yeah.
you know.
And, man, I feel like people just need to calm down. I think
Yeah.
there's so much aggression in this whole entire, like, the history of all of this. It was just constant aggression and, like, why? Just why?
Yeah. All right, I guess we'll wrap it up. And my shout outs for this week are Pharaoh Wizards, which is a really cool podcast that is going back through old they are playing through old Nintendo 64 games and see how they hold up, and they review them on there. It's really cool. And then another podcast, Leave the Lights On, and they are doing paranormal and true crime like us. I can't say like us because I don't really think there's anybody like us, because we're mostly just talking about stuff and then going, what the fuck? Like other people are all just facts and figures or discussion or whatever, and we do those things, but we also, I guess we just like presenting stuff and then just being like, what the fuck? That's kind of our general theme. But anyway, also our contact info is in the show notes, and I guess that's it for today. Thanks for coming on, Nancy. Hopefully we can get you back. I'm trying to talk your mom into us doing a episode about cults. Maybe you guys can both do that one or something.
Oh, that'd be good.
Or I can get you back to talk about Elisa Lamb.
Is that
Or Lisa Lamb, the elevator chick.
Oh my god.
I was planning on doing an episode eventually of that. I just hadn't done the research. But
I remember like watching some video about that when I was like really young. Like I used to, for some reason, make myself scared to go to sleep.
yeah.
I have a recent obsession with like clowns and all that of the sort, and I bought this like doll, and I don't know, it's like the slightest bit of creepy because it is kind of porcelain, and sometimes I lay down and I'm like, I'm gonna watch a video so that I can fall asleep with noise because I'm just a little freaked out seeing this across the room. Like I still just scare myself for no reason sometimes.
Yeah. That's life. But anyway, thanks for coming on. Hopefully we can get you back at some point. You can see now that this is not that scary or whatever.
Yeah, witchcraft is not what it's wait, what? I was
Well,
supposed
I
to
meant the show, but yeah.
Oh, well, the sketch show.
Doing the show. Now that you've done it, you can see that it's rather simple.
Yeah. I definitely was more talkative on this than whenever Mom and I tried to do one.
Yeah. You guys really need to get back and try to do that again sometime.
Maybe. Perhaps.
Come up with stuff that you want to talk about and make her talk about it. Just that's what you have to do.
I don't even know what I would want to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, so, how's Animal Crossing, Mom?
Yeah, pretty much everybody we know is playing Animal Crossing right now during
I've
quarantine.
made actually like tons. I've made quite a few friends because of Animal Crossing. Like, my friend, I thought I was gonna have like one person that I played Animal Crossing with, and then he introduced me to like probably like 10 other people so far, and I've made quite a few new friends. So it's very fun. It's very like brings you together.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Animal Crossing. You a real one?
I thought about starting like a local Facebook group for it or something, so that because I've been holding like scavenger hunts and stuff for
To follow
people.
Animal Crossing.
Yep. Anyway, I guess we need to shut up because these people are like, I came here for talk about witches. I didn't want to hear about Animal Crossing. Anyway,
You come here
later,
for one, you
guys.
get the other.
Happy Easter.
Almost. Talk to you guys. Oh my god, is this gonna come out on Easter?
Maybe.
Great. 10 out of 10.
Either that, I might put it out tomorrow if I get it edited in time. Either way, later.
Bye bye.